We will need to see those audio tapes. God bless y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Johnson, 9625 Phelan, Beaumont, Texas.
How y'all doing? All my taxes have been paid for the last 20 years on this house. It was on the work program,
Can you give me the address, sir?
1195 Amarillo. And it was finished. The house was completely finished. My electrician went to pull the permit. June the 27th, it was denied. And by the time I could get a hold of Delancey, it took me 4 days to get a hold of her because she was out sick. But I wasn't told that until the 4th day. And that just screwed up everything. I wasn't able to finish. And that happened twice.
Were you on the work program today?
Not today, no. This was a work program before,
Okay.
and I finished it within my time frame.
Okay, so it was finished?
It was finished. It was finished, and when my electrician his permit got denied, and I tried to I called up here to the office, and I was told she wasn't there. The next day she won't be here. The next day she won't. Then the 4th day they finally told me she's sick. And that just messed everything up for me getting anything done. I couldn't finish. I couldn't finish because what they were telling me up there. And then finally when I came down the 4th day, the lady upstairs finally told me, she said, oh, here's the problem, you need to fix it. Well, now 4 days has done gone by. And that happened twice.
Okay, and your name again, sir?
Terry Johnson.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
if you'll stay, Mr. Boone, can we get someone to?
Yeah, we'll certainly talk with Mr. Johnson. We'll definitely get a timeline for the council as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Johnny Beatty, 1315, and he didn't put his street address, Beaumont, Texas.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Mr. Beatty?
Johnny Beatty, 3555 Washington Boulevard.
Washington.
I apologize for that. Madam Mayor, Council, Mr. Boone, Mrs. Reed. I'm here today to ask for, or consider a request for an extension on the property on 1315 Caldwell. I've been working on the property for the last several months, and because of inflation, cost of materials, COVID, supply chain issues, theft of plumbing, and inclement weather, the completion has been delayed. As of today, I have expended over $30,000 on this particular structure, which includes leveling, front porch and back porch has been completed. The roof has been completed over the porch, and all of which have been inspected by the building codes inspector. Although I started to install the siding, I had to stop as the building code inspector asked me to get a windstorm inspector or structural engineer to look at the siding, so I had to stop. So at this point, in my dealing with properties, I've had 7 houses tagged at one time. I've completed 2. I'm working on 1. 2 have been demolished, and 2 more are ready for demolition. I am not independently wealthy, so I'm not sure if you understand that working on 7 houses at one time is a bit much. And that's where I am right now, but I worked on 2, as I mentioned. I have some low to moderate income individuals living in those houses at this point, affordable rent. And I'm just asking more time in order to provide affordable rental housing for low to moderate income individuals. Questions?
Okay, Mr.
I have
Beatty.
pictures if you'd like to see any pictures.
Mr. Beatty, this was not on the list today. You're talking
No,
about the
it's-
previous.
It was on the list previously, and I'm just asking for another extension.
Okay.
Mayor, that process will be done upstairs on
Upstairs
the
on the second floor. Yes, sir. Mr. Beatty, if you will just go to the second floor and speak to someone there, they'll be able to assist you.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
Carlton Sharp, 5150 Plant Road, Beaumont, Texas.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. I'm here today to correct the record from the last City Council meeting on June 28th. A proposal was brought to the Council about 125 Magnolia property. The interim manager, city manager, was asked if there was any other parties interested in 125 Magnolia. His response was, not in the last 2 years. Madam Mayor, Council, that was not the truth. In late February, early March of this year, an investment group out of Houston inquired about purchasing 125 Magnolia. They did a walkthrough of 125 Magnolia with staff, and staff informed them of all the issues that were needed to be corrected in 125 Magnolia. Staff then sent the survey of 125 Magnolia. Then the investment group spoke with the interim city manager to discuss their plans and their interests in 125 Magnolia. And it was told to them that in order for the city to sell property, that they would have to do a RFP to do a public notice. The investment group is still waiting for the RFP for 125 Magnolia. Now, in listening to that council meeting on the 28th, it seems as if the decision has already been made to go with another group for 125 Magnolia. Now, how do we expect for new businesses to be attracted to our community when the head of staff is sabotaging their efforts through lies? How do we expect for our city to become what it has the potential to become if the head of staff picks and chooses who he likes or don't like to present to council or to the public? Now, I have said in many council meetings here, listen to everyone proclaim how we want new businesses to come to our city. Well, it may not be that the businesses are not interested in coming to our city, but that we currently have a head of staff that's running them away. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ronald Kelly, 2255 Angelina, Beaumont, Texas.
Good afternoon. I live in the Oaks District, Beaumont, Texas. And I am coming to you guys to ask you guys, especially those of you who represent the Oaks District, Mr. Neal, Mr. Samuel, and Mr. Durio. My neighbors and I came to realize there were 2 homes that were being constructed in our neighborhood right down the street, maybe a block. And we were excited because, hey, new home, great, that's excellent. New homeowners. Well, as it turns out, it's not a new home owner, it's a new home investment. It's actually a rental property. And I'm asking you guys to pay attention to Old Town, and particularly Angelina Street and Rusk Street. I know there's been several homes that have been torn down, and the lots are there. We would love to see them get back on the tax roll, but we think they would be better fitting for homeowners, that we should encourage these investors to build acceptable, affordable homes so that we can continue to have the pride in that community, the pride in the historic district. Sometimes I'm not sure what it is that Beaumont wants when it comes to that historic district. I've gone to the historic meeting and observed individuals with very low, moderate homes having to have to leave that meeting denied any types of improvements to a very moderate home. But yet we get new buildings coming in and, you know, nice beautiful windows and the like. But some of these homes and these craftsman-style homes, it's hard to find carpenters that can really deal with those homes. The home that I have has those weight windows with the rotted string and what have you. Nobody knows how to repair those. Now, I'm not just fighting for new windows, but what I am saying is that we need to be very clear on what we want in this historic district, because you can go a few blocks over, new windows. But then some people are being turned away and saying, no, you got to go back to those old windows. And, you know, people want to be happy in their homes. Not to bring up old wounds, but this body denied Mr. Samuel's request when he tried to take a building and put his office or whatever he's going to do there. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, you can finish your statement, sir.
Okay. And so I'm just simply saying that we need to be more defining, because at that meeting they discussed and asked the question, well, did you know what you were coming into when you moved into the historic district? The answer was no. They said that the realtor was supposed to provide you with information as to why, you know, the requirements of being in this historic district. The answer was no. I know when I purchased my home in 2009, nobody said nothing about any particular requirements of me as a homeowner in the historic district, you know. And so I think we need to be a bit more clear and defining of what we want in this historic district, and try to reach that. And because we got a lot of old homes that are just not being repaired because the owners don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. And we need to help them. That's what I'd like y'all to think about.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, we will have council member comment, and I'm going to start with you, Council Member Neal.
No comment, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member Samuel.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Council Member Philshaw.
Yes, City Manager, last night I attended the Oaks Historic District Neighborhood Association meeting. And of course, there are citizens there concerned about the homeless encampment there on Laurel. And so can we have a health inspector go out and just look at the site to make sure there's no code violation there? And can we have a code enforcement officer go out and make sure that there's no code and violation there also? Because there were some reports last night, there are some problems. And so, of course, we're all looking for a compassionate yet practical solution to that issue. And we want to be compassionate, but we understand the neighbors and their frustration. So could we have those two departments go out and just investigate?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member Turner.
Yes, I just wanted to shout out to staff and compliment them on, we've been having some issues with bids, and staff took the initiative to be proactive and actually put together something to where people could come get educated on the process tomorrow. And I want to encourage people to come out and actually learn how to bid and do business with the city of Beaumont. Also, the municipal airport, I noticed that they applied for some grants, so I wanted to compliment them on that. I seen a gentleman who leads that department in the audience. I see he had to leave early. 10 years ago, I got a lot of calls about these industrial agreements, and I just wanted to echo the fact that 10 years ago, we had the previous mayor that's in the audience, Becky Ames, Councilman Samuel. I'm not sure if Mike was on the council then, but you guys went to an agreement with OCI, and it's kind of coming to fruition because in 2025, we'll get $350,000 a year. In 2026, we'll see $5.6 million a year. And the reality is a lot of people get upset about these agreements and these deals, but the city does need to figure out ways to increase revenue in order to pay for streets, drainage, police officers, fire department. So I kind of want to compliment staff for actually exploring those options in the past. And one last question, I think the interim can answer this. Is this current OCI deal the largest industrial project in the history of Beaumont, Texas?
We'll go back and research and let you know, but I think it might be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Getz.
Last night, I had the opportunity to attend a joint neighborhood association meeting between the Dallin West Group and the Meadows Group. We had a full house, and appreciate the police department for being there and giving us the crime stats. We heard from the district attorney's office, and they kind of gave us an overview of what was going on in that office, and so that was a great time. You know it's hot outside, and the homeless especially know that it's hot outside. And right now, what we've been able to do through the Mayor's Homeless Coalition is quite a number of things to help our homeless neighbors. And, you know, working with the Salvation Army to rehab a couple of buildings at the corner of McFadden and Forest. We have now a shelter that is operational, and it operates, starts at 5 p.m. in the evening, and it goes to 7 o'clock in the morning. And they provide a free meal, too. At 7 o'clock in the morning, the shelter's not designed to keep them there all day. They would like for the people that are spent the night to go try to find a job or go to work if they have a job or go to school. And those that don't have any of those things available to them, they tend to congregate around the area. And that's when Henry's Place comes into the picture. Henry's Place is kind of a day center for the homeless. And they're going to have an open house this Thursday from 4 to 6. It's located at 1107 McFadden. Henry's House is operated as a division of some other place. And the director of Henry's House was the speaker at the last Homeless Coalition meeting. And what he explained was that right now, because of volunteer shortages, they do not have enough people there to keep it open during the hottest part of the day. They currently are open from 8:30 to 11. Then, you know, the clientele goes over to some other place and has lunch. And then in the afternoon, there's just really nothing. They would like to be able to open the facility until 5 when the Salvation Army shelter opens. What they need is volunteers. And if you know somebody or you yourself are interested in volunteering, and what we're looking at in volunteers is basically somebody to sit at the desk, sort through the mail, and to check people in and out, you know, sign them in and out, and just kind of act almost as a hall monitor, because the people there are generally there to play cards, watch TV, get a break out of the heat and the air conditioning. So if you know somebody that would like to volunteer for, sign up for that, people ask all the time, what can I do to help? Well, this is a way you can help. So please consider coming out and looking at the overhouse. The building has just been renovated. It looks wonderful. The homeless can go in there, take a shower, wash their clothes. All this is free. And it's really a godsend for them, but we need to get it open longer. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Duria.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say, Chris, on the historic district, if you can get information on who makes up these rules, or it's by ordinance, who enforces it, and if there's any help for the residents, I mean, you should, if you want to stay within the rules, like he was saying, and you want to get your house fixed, and you want to keep within these rules, but you can't find anybody to do it because they're so old. I mean, I remember those windows he talking about with the weights in them. You know, that's old. And we have to have some type of relief for the residents that's there, some way that they can go and be able to put other windows in there because they can't find these, or they can't find anybody to fix them. So if you give us some information so how we can help out those residents, we appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Nothing else, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
I do, just real quickly, echoing what Councilmember Turner had mentioned. I know we've had some questions and issues raised about people, you know, trying to get into the vendor process and bidding on city contracts, and just some specifics. The vendor fair, and I would like to show my appreciation for the purchasing group as well as the communications group for getting the word out. But it's tomorrow at Civic Center from 10 to 1. And it's going to be a group effort between the City of Beaumont, Jefferson County, Port of Beaumont, and then the TIPS Purchasing Cooperative. So that'll be tomorrow. 10-1 Civic Center.
Okay, and booths open from 10 to 3.
Okay.
Just want to
Yes,
add
10 to
that.
3, that's correct. The booths are open 10 to 3, the presentations are 10. The city of Beaumont will be at 11, Port of Beaumont 12, Jefferson County 1, but you're correct. Booths will be open till 3.
Beaumont Civic Center.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to thank staff and also former Mayor Ames that worked as a consultant with OCI for bringing the largest economic development project that Beaumont has ever seen. This project will offer in excess of $2.6 billion to our economy. Also, 2,000 construction jobs, and between the two projects, about 400 to 600 permanent jobs. So Beaumont has a lot to look forward to, and that is great news. And to the council, thank you, each and every one of you that voted to approve this. This is just great news for our city. And for people that are coming out of school and looking for jobs, it's going to boost our economy, and it's going to be a great improvement for our city. So to staff and to Mayor Ames, thank you so very much. I'm excited. I hope the citizens of Beaumont are excited over this. Also, I've had calls also about Old Town, and I love Old Town. I think the history of the homes in Old Town, the historical value that it brings to our community is an asset. The one thing that you do have to know when you move to Old Town is that there are some of the strictest restrictions in that community, and I'm quite familiar with those weighted windows, and they're hard to find, and it's hard to find somebody to work on a lot of those windows and doors that you can't just go to Lowe's and Home Depot and buy any longer. You're going to have to scour around antique shops to try to find those windows, and a lot of people see them and don't even know what they are. But if you've owned an older building or an older home, trust me, there's something to contend with, because you have to have the weights properly fitted into the slots of those windows, and they won't come down and they won't go up without them. And so, but that's one of the beauties of having an old craftsman historic home. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful scenery to our city. And so there are a lot of rules and regulations that the Historic Society oversee, and they make sure that the citizens in that community abide by those, where most of them do. Unfortunately, you're going to have some things that don't go as planned. And right now with the homeless camp that's there in Old Town, and hopefully we can get that worked out, and for both sides, because we do understand that we have people that are living in a community that don't want a homeless camp next door to their home. And then we have, as Councilmember Guest just said, the city donated money to fix Henry's house, and we have empty rooms, and we have a facility that's there for the homeless to take advantage of, but we don't have enough volunteers to keep it running. And we've spent the money to have the facility available, and there are rooms, right, that are not even occupied or rented.
Henry's Place is different than the Salvation Army
Right,
Shelter.
Henry's Place is during the day, but then,
We have, the Salvation Army Shelter is staffed, and that's not a problem, but there are vacancies there as well.
right,
It's Henry's Place for during the day that we need some volunteers.
absolutely. And so if your organization or if your church or just individuals want to go out and volunteer, it's a great way to even get some college students or just earn some hours in community service. I think it's a great way to give back to your community and then give back to the homeless. So, again, if you could, if you know of anyone or any organization, please let them know that we do need volunteers to staff Henry's Place. And so with that said, go out and be happy, and we're going to recess to executive session. Thank you. Appreciate you coming.